Hi, I'm Hugh Morton. I was born and raised in Wilmington, North Carolina on the coast. Although I live in the mountains now, I do know a little bit about the coast, and I want to talk about it. Here is Mr. Dick Holmberg, and he's on the shore of Lake Michigan standing on one of his undercurrent stabilizers. This is something that he's invented to combat erosion. It's a long bag of heavy fabric that he fills with concrete, and this serves as an underwater speed bump out in the edge of the surf, and the surf is laden with sand. The speed bump slows down the current. Some of the sand settles, builds up the beach. This is a remarkable thing because once Mr. Holmberg has installed his stabilizers, he doesn't have to go back and do it over again. It's a one-shot deal. Here we see the stabilizers in front of the property of Mr. Jim Westgate on Lake Michigan. These stabilizers have been in only a few months. You see the shore end of the stabilizer down in the lower left of the picture, but already the sand is beginning to settle. You can tell from the different color of the surf there that the stabilizers are serving their purpose, and the sand is settling and building up the beach. This is a view showing the whole frontage of Mr. Westgate's property. This was made in 1997, in September of 1997, and as we have already said, the beach is beginning to build up. On beyond where you see the dunes, there are no stabilizers in front of those dunes, and the dunes have been eroding. I took this picture a year later, or rather 9 months later, of Mr. Westgate standing in front of his property, and you see a faint trace of one of the stabilizers over his shoulder there in the distance, but the beach has built up considerably in just 9 months' time. Here is another scene made in August of 1999, and it shows an even greater progress that has been made in 1 year later. It's remarkable what Mr. Holmberg's stabilizers have accomplished in front of the Westgate property. Still later, in June of June 2003, here's the Westgate property. The dunes that have been built up by Holmberg stabilizers are being retained by sand fences and seagrass, and a beautiful beach in front of that. And it really is, it shows what can be done with the Holmberg approach to erosion control. Another one of the properties on Lake Michigan that I visited was that of Mr. Decker, who was a city councilman in the town of Grand Rapids, Michigan. Here you see that Mr. Decker's home was about to be undermined by the surf on Lake Michigan, and right at the foot of those steps leading down from Mr. Decker's house, you see one of Mr. Holmberg's stabilizers in the process of being installed, and beyond the steps you see a stabilizer that has already been installed. And this was back in the late 1980s, and then later I visited there in July of 1999, and you see what had been accomplished in front of Mr. Decker's house then. Beach grass had been planted on top of the dunes that Mr. Holmberg had made possible, and you see some North Carolinians that we took up there to see it out there on the beach, and some on the deck of Mr. Decker's house. But that looked very good in 1999, and then in the year 2003, the beach in front of Mr. Decker's house and the dunes have been stabilized even further. It's really a remarkable accomplishment. And he went to work. The front of the beach in front of a big beach resort in Saudi Arabia, they had concrete abutments protecting the shoreline, but there was no beach in front of it. And Holmberg said, if you'll tear out the concrete, I can put my stabilizers in front of it, of where the concrete had been, and we could build up a beach for you. Now take a look at the tower there in the distance, and the palms at the right. And after they'd torn up the concrete, you can see the scene there on November the 11th, 1999. And then by December the 1st, they had hauled away all the broken concrete, and Mr. Holmberg was then ready to place his stabilizers in front of this property. And then by January the 14th of 2000, in other words, just 6 weeks later, he had already built up a remarkably beautiful beach in front of this particular property. Money didn't mean anything to them, apparently. They installed a sprinkler system behind the beautiful sandy beach, and they wanted a green area behind the sandy beach, and it looks like Augusta National. I think a beautiful job was certainly done here. I took, after I'd been up there and seen what Mr. Holmberg had done at several of the sites, I took a group of 40 North Carolinians up there. We were trying to save Cape Hatteras Lighthouse in its historic location, and we got a good deal from the Charlotte Hornets to use their plane to go up there to Lake Michigan, and there are the 40 people that went. Dr. Pilkey over at Duke, who is said by some to be a scientist studying erosion, he called it the flight of 40 fools. He didn't believe that Holmberg's system would work, and so there are the 40 fools, and of course I'm one of those 40 fools. We had hoped to use the Holmberg technique for protecting property from erosion at Cape Hatteras Lighthouse. Cape Hatteras Lighthouse, the Statue of Liberty, and the Golden Gate Bridge were the three American properties that were right on the coast that were known throughout the world.